Hello guys, it is Slinny, and initially I was gonna do a review for the Halloween special of Invader Zim, but then I found a headcanon pertaining to it, and I just decided to do another Invader Zim headcanon video. So without further ado, let's begin. Once again, I found the Invader Zim headcanons and theories from Google Images, all of them linking back to Tumblr, but speaking of the headcanon that made me do this video, and it says, I think ever since that fateful Halloween, Zim and Dib have an unspoken truce during October so they can stay away from each other and never risk that happening again. Which, honestly, yeah, I'm pretty sure they were both pretty traumatized during that special. After seeing the episode Voting of the Doomed, the network wanted to change the name of the show to Invader Zim and Dib. I feel like this is more of just a speculation on someone's part. I'm not sure if this is true or not. Regardless, Invader Zim still kept its name, so at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal. Although I guess it wouldn't be too surprising if that were the case, because there are a fair amount of episodes that focus solely on Dib, solely on Zim, and then of course most of the series is both of them in the same episode. Zim is 16 in Urkin years and 160 in Earth years due to how slow Urk rotates around its sun. It's canon. The creator even said it himself. No, he didn't. On the Invader Zim wiki, which I know fan wikis aren't typically the best source, it says Jonan Vasquez confirmed that Zim is almost 2 centuries old. While that could place him as 160, it does neither confirm or deny that as an exact year. And then something a smidge more credible, I would imagine, is IMDb, which says, Jonan Vasquez said in an interview that Zim has no canonically definitive age, but he is older than any living human being, perhaps older than any being who has ever lived on Earth. However, in Urkin years, Zim is quite young, although he is not a child or adolescent, so probably he's either a late teenager or a young adult. While it isn't entirely impossible for Zim to be 160, I do find it a little bit disingenuous to say that the creator confirmed it, because he didn't. There is a range for his age, but not an exact number. Moving on to a more wholesome headcanon, Dib has created his own trench coat by shrinking one of his father's old lab coats in the washing machine and then dyeing it black. There's no evidence for this, there's not really a reason for this to be real because it does nothing, but I still think it's a cute idea, and yeah, that would be nice. It's just a cute idea, that's all it is, and I like it. And probably the silliest headcanon in this video. In The Nightmare Begins, there was a time during the Doom song when Gur was headbanging. Gur is a metalhead. While I don't think Gur would have an idea of metal as a genre of music in this current point, his cranium is in fact composed of metal, so by definition, he is a metalhead. Man, that wasn't even a good dad joke. I'm moving on. Zim, like many Urkins, takes his coffee incredibly sweet. He experiments with human ingredients such as maple syrup or honey in place of sugar on occasion. I mainly bring this one up because it does remind me of ants, and my personal headcanon is that Urkins are very much inspired by either spiders, which arachnid Urkin, or ants, because they very much love sugary things, and the way their society runs just kind of reminds me of an ant colony. I guess he could be inspired by both, but at the end of the day, this alien species is very much insectoid, and that is my point. Yes, I'm aware arachnids aren't actually insects, but on a daily basis, most people confuse spiders for insects anyway, so I feel comfortable saying this. Urkins are capable of love, but very few show it because the Empire is treated as the most important thing on the planet, and anyone who lets love or any emotion for that matter get in the way of the mission is considered defective and either executed or banned from Urk. I personally prefer this explanation over the common held theory that Urkins either don't feel positive emotion or no emotions at all because they're a very militaristic species. The tallest very clearly have emotions. Tak very clearly has emotions. Invader Scooch very clearly has emotions. It's not just Zim. Zim, in particular, is just an extreme. Both Dib and Zim would be sad if they ever really beat the other because they had a not quite friendly rivalry and they kept each other's lives interesting. Funny enough, people say the exact same thing about Batman and the Joker, which, looking at it, it's hard to say these two don't have a similar dynamic. Regardless, though, yeah, I feel like this is very common when it comes to superhero or just protagonists versus antagonists in general when it comes to story writing, but yeah, I'd agree. I think they would be sad without each other. And now I introduce to you the Miss Bitters section of the headcanon video. I feel like Miss Bitters knows Zim is an alien but just doesn't care. Honestly, pretty likely. Miss Bitters isn't really a scary, mean old lady. She's just gotten bored teaching over the years and likes to mess with the kids. Hey, two things can be true at once. And though I couldn't find exact screenshots for this, I know there are two other very popular headcanons for Miss Bitters, and one of them is that A, she's either not human and probably an alien or something like that, or B, she is the mother of Gaz and Dib in some way or another. I'm not here to argue for or against those theories, but I'm just noting them here since they're very prevalent to the fandom. Invader Zim takes place in the year 2022 or 2033 based solely on the idea that it's not too far into the future, and in the episode Vindicated, Dib has labeled one of the trash piles Friday 10/7. October 7th falls on a Friday, and the years 2016, 2022, 2033, 2039, 2050, and so on. You know, the sign could easily just be an error on the creator's part, but I actually like this line of thinking. I never got the idea that Invader Zim was supposed to be too far in the future, although it is quite sci-fi, but, you know, if it was supposed to be, then this theory absolutely rocks. I'll try to say this one with a straight face. Due to the physical stress of the ingested organs, Zim's pack released painkillers after his hunt in Dark Harvest to numb some of this stress. By the time Dib finds him in the cafeteria, he's high as a kite. No, because someone legitimately came up with this, typed it into some program, put it over an image of Zim in Dark Harvest, legitimately post this on Tumblr. It ended up getting enough traffic to be on Google Images, and... I'm sorry, I think that was the sound of my brain cells being stolen from me. In all seriousness, that one's just kind of funny. Meat doesn't actually hurt Urkins. It's the chemicals, spices, juices, and sauces that do. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this were true considering the general anti-pollution theming throughout Invader Zim. It's very pessimistic towards the human race. The soda in this series is literally called poop, and while that could just be potty humor for the kids at home, it could equally just be saying that soda is not very good for you at all, because it isn't. Sometimes Zim will eat bleach or cat litter, especially if he's sick. Where do you even get this from? Where? It's not even funny! Since all organic life on Urk is gone, all produce, like meat, are artificially made. Honestly, I don't see why not. Ooh, 2 food cordia images in a row. Urkin's skin contains chloroplast, which is why it is green. Urkins are actually completely capable of surviving off of sunlight. This is why Urkin foods are mostly snacks and other junk food. They eat for pleasure, not for nutrition. Also, this is the reason why Urkin junk foods tend to be so sugary, because they live off of the sugar made by photosynthesis, and so sugars are easier to digest than other proteins or fats. You know, this theory is quite thought-provoking, I'd say, for the least. And I know I use theory and headcanon pretty interchangeably here, but I mainly just mean an idea from someone who's part of the fandom. The only thing I have against this is that the tallest are not always in close proximity to a sun when they're traveling, let alone one that may give them the food that they need. So, while it's an interesting idea, I'm not sure how accurate it is. Regardless, I really like it. It's definitely a thought-provoker. However, I did find a headcanon generator for the rest of this video. It's not AI, it's just a bunch of prompts that you can insert a name into randomly, and I made some funny Invader Zim ones. Invader Zim is the type of person to publicly announce their attack. True, though he can plot. Gur once ate a rock. Dib used to watch edgy monster AMVs when they were younger. Gaz has never been to another country. Professor Membrane nearly drowned in a river as a child. Foreshadowing for the shark attack on his arm. Tallest Purple spends $300 on average in DoorDash. Hey, that's relevant to the drawing in the background. Tallest Red is pretty cool. Actually, that's just canon. And Tallest Lenny makes your mom jokes. Hey, you didn't have to tell them that! Though, I guess there really isn't a better place to say that at this point the speed paint kinda crashed because I accidentally turned my tablet off, so unfortunately no more footage, but hey, I did finish the drawing, so here that is. I was a lot more inspired by the Invader Zim comics for this kind of drawing. I just wanted to do the tallest since I already did a thumbnail of Invader Zim and Dib respectively, so yeah. I was initially going to have a box of Krispy Kremes on Tallest Purple's desk, but the colors were just clashing and it didn't work, so yeah. In the end, it is just Tallest Red with what was supposed to be a Starbucks coffee, but I kept it rather vague because I don't care to get the details of a Starbucks coffee right. So he's just saying, I hate Invader Zim. And for the TV screen, I did have multiple ideas. At first, he was going to be hiding behind a pan to get away from a bee, and then another one was just that Gur was taking control of the camera and Zim was upset with him, but I decided a frog would be the easiest solution. So yeah, here it is. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good day, morning, night, whatever time it is when you're watching this, and just have a good time. Goodbye, and I'll see you guys later. Also, I've run out of headcanons. I'm not covering the ships. Goodbye.